America Meditating Radio Show, we collect wisdom, inspire each other, and empower hearts 24/7. Hi, I'm Sister Jenna. Join me and guest on Blog Talk Radio as we amplify stories that compel us to be more for ourselves and everyone else around us.
Hi, I'm Angela Peabody of Global Woman Peace Foundation, and I listen to America's Meditating Radio Show.
The Azar Foundation for Children of the World is an organization aimed to support women and children in need across the globe. We believe in empowering lives, strengthening minds, and providing programs that enrich health and education. The Azar Foundation was founded in 2003 and has been serving the world ever since. Visit us at our website at www.azar4children.org. That's www.azar4children.org to find out more information about our endeavors and join our mailing list. Remember, the smile and the cry of a child doesn't have any language. The Azar Foundation. Are you in need of a tech service company that's going to deliver the best solutions for your business? Then at-Tronica is your solutions headquarters. Here we specialize in your individual needs to make sure your business shines. For more information, please call 301-417-0070 or visit us at our website at attronica.net. At-Tronica, where we deliver for you.
Hello, everyone. This is Sister Jenna from the America Meditating Radio, and I'm excited to introduce to you Meditate the Vote. It's going to be a national campaign, and what we're asking for all of you to join us with is to raise the bar of conversation. Try to see in what way we can change our interpretation about who we are, what we are, and perhaps the direction in which we want this country to go in. Regardless of whoever becomes the next president in 2017, we are still responsible for the way that we want to move our lives. So could you join me and an alliance of friends around the country to meditate the vote? Go to americameditating.org, press on Events, Meditate the Vote, and you'll be able to get a whole bunch of information. So join us, because I, Sister Jenna, meditate the vote.
Write thank you notes.
Tell the truth all the time.
These motivating thoughts from Randy Pausch's last lecture remind each of us to live our dreams.
Be creative every day.
Take a fun trip. Motivation. Pass it on from the Foundation for a Better Life at values.com.
To open my mind and give my
Welcome, everyone, to America Meditating Radio. I'm your host, Sister Jenna. That was Open My Eyes from Bliss. And Meditate the Vote continues to really encourage us to have a meaningful conversation, a conversation of the heart, so that we can make some shift. You're looking at what's happening in the country, aren't you? And we're all a part of this process. This is no longer a black and white issue. This is a soul issue. Our soul is crying out for something very deep. It is crying out for a return to its own inner power. It is crying out for its relationship with God. It is crying out for its unity amongst each other. The other day, someone sent me a video by Prince A, and it was so on target. It's almost like he's been studying Raj Yoga meditation his whole life. And in the video, Prince A was talking about that you're not your labels. And I have to tell you that more and more our attachment to our gender, our name, our position, our role, our titles, our religion, our language, our nationality, our relationships, it's the base of our suffering. I'm telling you that. And that's why I really, really want you all to get a copy of the Letting Go Meditation CD. It really takes us into a place where we don't have to live from a place of attachment anymore, but we can definitely live from a place of love. Please, when you get a chance, go to our Meditation Museum, Facebook. Marion Williamson, Stephen Dine, and myself, and a lot of individuals are talking about empowering healing, which took place at the Meditation Museum on the 11th, and it was a very profound and powerful conversation. So I really want you all to go on there and just listen to that conversation. There's going to be a lot of richness in that dialogue, helping us to overcome some of our own issues and our own sense of, lack or inadequacy that we're struggling with on a day-to-day basis. Stay tuned. We're going to have a conversation with two incredible women, Denna Babul and Karin-Luise, and they're going to be talking to us about the Fatherless Daughter Project, which really is quite interesting, and we're going to learn more through their eyes as to how they've been able to move beyond their own struggles and cooperate in something much, much more meaningful in our world today. Before I get them on the air, I'd like us to go into what we do best here on the America Meditating Radio, and that is to dive into a deeper place within ourselves. So perhaps that surface languaging no longer really has the dominant expression, but the real inner self of our beings become the dominant conversation. So breathe in deeply, relax, and don't change that dial, because we're about to let go from the off the grid into the heart meditation CD. Om Shanti. The time that we choose to be aware doesn't necessarily require me to just sit and meditate. But even while I walk and move around, I can be in a meditative awareness, which is awareness of the soul, the original, eternal, imperishable being of light. For a little while, I'd like to invite you to be present, to be here, and to be now. Allow your mind to settle in the moment, to relax. This meditation is about awareness. It's about becoming aware of your original and eternal self. It's about connecting to your truth. Let go of your name. And observe yourself feeling nameless. Let go of your gender, to discontinue thinking you're a man or a woman. Let it go and observe how you would feel walking around without a gender. Let go of the role that you play and let go of the titles that you own. Observe how you're feeling as you are gradually letting go. Let go of your religion and put it aside just for now. And let go of your nationality and even the language that you're accustomed to. Imagine you have no name, gender, role, title, religion, nationality, or even a language. Ask yourself, how do you feel at this moment? And in this feeling, who would think of you and who would you think of? The Supreme Soul would think of you, and you, the liberated soul, would think of the Supreme. In this state of absolute freedom, I am truly who I am. A free, peaceful, pure, immortal, and eternal soul. Allow yourself to just be absorbed in this awareness. At this time. Welcome back. That was letting go from off the grid into the heart. Well, today we are joined by Denna Babul and Karin-Luise, co-authors of a new book entitled The Fatherless Daughter Project, Understanding Our Losses and Reclaiming Our Lives. Denna Babul, who is a registered nurse, successful life coach, motivational speaker, author, medical expert, founder of the Fatherless Daughter Project. She has been featured on the Today Show in the Atlanta Journal-Constitution and has spent years involved in a variety of charity efforts. Denna's focus is helping others learn to transform a difficult past into a thriving future. Now, Dr. Karin-Luise is a sought-after psychotherapist, writer, inspirational speaker specializing in spirituality, women's issues, and holistic well-being. Co-founder of the Fatherless Daughter Project, she's been featured in HuffPost Live, in USA Today, and in the Atlanta Journal-Constitution. A humanitarian at heart, Dr. Karin is deeply committed to the mission of the Atlanta Ronald McDonald House Charities for over a decade. Today, we're very proud to welcome Denna and Karin to the America Meditating Radio. Welcome, ladies.
Hi, thank you. Good morning.
Good morning to you. Thank you so much for the work that you are doing, actually, because, even though I have a father and my mother got married and had a stepfather, sometimes it's whether you're physically with a father, whether your father has left you or your father is just emotionally absent. It does dictate the narrative of the way that you handle your life or deal with your life. So is it possible that maybe we can start with Denna? What was it like? How did you start the Fatherless Project, and what motivated you to start it?
Sure. Thank you so much for that beautiful meditation beforehand, too. I really appreciate it. What made me start it, my parents divorced when I was 3, and my dad was in and out of my life, which had a huge impact on me and caused a lot of separation anxiety very, very young, and made me kind of look around at friends and other people and the relationship they had with their father and wonder why I did not have the same. When I was 13, my dad killed, and my life was turned upside down. And I say in the documentary it was the defining moment of my life, and it was because I had a lot of struggle with not just separation anxiety, but now fear and anger, and, had to grow up overnight. And so on the way home from my father's funeral, I was praying really hard. My family went to church. It was part of our routine in Sunday school, but I'd never really asked for anything. And I was driving back, or my mom was driving back, and I was asking God, why did you do this? And how much more do I have to deal with? I'm so young. And we had a lot of turmoil inside of our family. And I felt him speak very poignantly to me and tell me that this was not in vain and that there was a reason. And the word chosen came into my mind, that I was chosen. I didn't know what that meant or why those words were, said to me, but it did kind of change my trajectory for the rest of my life because I felt like there was something I was supposed to do. I didn't know that it was to focus and be the voice for fatherless daughters, but it is something that I kept getting pulled back into. A lot of friends and family felt like I had an obsession with the loss of my father and how it affected me. And to me, it was purpose. And so it was something that I had thought about doing for a long time and played around with a lot through my 20s and 30s before it all came together.
Wow. It always amazes me how sometimes we can go through what I would call some of life's greatest crises, but that crisis was almost a precursor to move us into something very beautiful and meaningful. We just don't know once we're going through it. Dr. Karin, tell us a little bit about how you got involved with the Fatherless Daughter Project because you're a sought-after psychotherapist. Was your story similar to Denna's, or was this something coming from a different place within you?
It was from a different place, and I also thank you for that meditation. I'm in such a great place right now from being from letting go. That was just beautiful. I was on a different course, and I was finishing up my doctorate, and Denna had attempted to write different versions of this book herself, and really was guided to bring in someone that had a clinical background. So the advice of an agent, and she called me, and I thought it would be a great opportunity to get involved in writing the book and doing the research. So I said yes, and we had a few years of writing and rewriting and starting and editing. And, what ended up happening was I started off, actually I was going to have a separate part in the book where I just spoke after she kind of told the stories, and then I would give a clinical viewpoint. But, I was on a soul journey myself too, and a journey of healing, and I was finishing my doctorate and having a lot of transformation in my life. And what I realized was there was still some unfinished business with my father issues, and, I ended up becoming more than the clinical voice. I ended up becoming, as time has gone on, and even since the book has published, become even more transparent, and my soul just broke open while we were doing the book. And, I came from a background that's really different than Denna's, which makes us actually a wonderful yin and yang set of authors for the book, because I was born into a family that was really dysfunctional, but my mother did divorce my natural father, and she eventually, within about a year or two, met another man and was remarried, and in that, my natural father gave me up for adoption to my new father, so I took on a new last name, and I got another brother in the deal, and we had a pretty good number of years until certain things came into play in the home, and things became extremely dysfunctional and abusive, and we just lost sight of the groundedness we'd had. And it was just a very, very painful experience, and I ended up looking back and wondering how my dad so easily, my natural father, gave me up for adoption to this person that ended up not being safe for me. And so I experienced the rug got pulled out. I felt safe for a few years, and then my safety left. And I was also being raised in a very Christian home, so I lived in this dichotomous world where, we'd step into one door and we were very conservative Christians, and then I'd step back home and it was very abusive and controlling, and there were just a lot of secrets. So I ended up coming out of college and getting married at my first marriage very, very young because I really wanted to be saved. And I ended up getting divorced 7 years later, and what happened was my fatherless issues, which we address in the book, this is one of the cornerstones of our book.
Comes back up, it resurfaces.
Exactly. All the stuff, just bubbled up. And I went back to school, but I still, there were so many layers since then. We'd both become mothers, and I had remarried again, and we both had these new layers of experience as adults and as women, as mothers, and, our souls had matured, and we were looking at it with very different eyes. So the journey, it continues.
Ladies, something that's coming out of our conversation is that you're both on a soul journey, one. Secondly, that, we turn to God and go, why? Why are you letting me go through this? And especially, one of the things, for me it's different. My father is still a Hindu, and my mother was Roman Catholic. So I used to remember growing up looking at her coming back from church, like, mea culpa and all of that. And my dad would be this lover of Krishna, and he's always happy. And I used to wonder to myself, like, what is the role of religion, and what does that play out for me in terms of understanding why I'm here? And maybe in the future we can talk more about that, maybe on another show, because it is something that I really want to take a lot of our friends and guests in a deeper conversation, because when we are going through what I call, in my understanding, a karmic account of my past, we do turn to God for support and for help, and we're expecting that it should be returned. Something should be returned where the pain and the emotions that I'm going through is pacified, and then it becomes pretty cool and very easy, and I can pass through it. You understand? So my question here would be, what were some of the consequences of being raised fatherless? I know you mentioned, Karin, about the marriage and all these layers of issues that came up, but tell me some of the issues that you hear women go through that becomes very challenging.
Definitely. I love that you just addressed what you addressed, because actually through this journey that's become so much of what my calling has been, which is that making sense of the religion maybe one was raised in, and you go through these layers of pain and you're trying to make sense. And I'm trying to find this bridge between what I know to be true and what I'm now learning to be true now that I've had this spiritual awakening. So I would love to talk about that in the future, because, it's about healing. And so as a fatherless daughter who has these multiple layers, and we found that out through our research and, of course, through our own lives, was, there were layers, and we both, dealt with, parents that there were some addictions in there, and you've got layers of maybe abuse and abandonment and betrayal. And so, as you're going into your adult life, what ends up happening, or for me, so there's twofold. Girls like Denna, who lost their dads through death, tend to deal with the loss through a kind of a different way of coping, which is they tend to idealize the father. And there's just a very different kind of coming to a healing, because there's confusion about knowing who he really was. And so the journey kind of takes off in one direction, but there's also this tremendous fear of abandonment and of being separated from those you love, and, of course, of your own health and well-being. And then for me, both of my fathers are still alive. My natural father's actually in my life as my kid's grandfather, and then my adoptive father. We're estranged now, but, I never really truly made sense of why and how, because the stories are all very conflicting between all the adults in my life, the ones that were adults. And so women that get abandoned by choice end up looking for, typically, as they come out of adolescence and into adulthood, looking for attention from men and tend to seek, physical attention primarily. And so there's often, earlier sexual experiences. And so it's not that the girl is loose or has a different value bar. It's just that, there's this void, and the soul is just searching to be loved. And so that often happens. But, what Denna and I talk about in the book, which is where we end the book, that was our main purpose, is to really show that even though these things can happen and these layers of pain and this searching can go on, inside all of that is a tremendous amount of resilience, and there's all these qualities that the woman can turn into something positive and not be identified, like you were saying, letting go of those labels and not be identified at the labels or the experiences of the past, but instead letting go of that and, establishing a new identity that's more healthier and that's more whole and authentic.
I love that. I love that, Karin. And Denna, your thoughts?
I think what Karin had to say is right. We had two very different backgrounds and how we came to this point. It was really important for me to bring the research, but also to talk to the girls instead of at them, and to make sure that these fatherless daughters understood that we are their sisters, just like you shared with us and Karin sharing her story, that although we all come from different ways of fatherlessness, we're all the same. We all fear abandonment. And usually that comes up when a relationship with a partner or a girlfriend or a work relationship or something, we begin to feel that we're going to get re-abandoned. In my case, because I grew up so early and, I had a great mother and some stand-in fathers that taught me a lot of confidence. I didn't really go down the path of, doing too much with my sexuality or, going to the other end of using my sexuality to bring men to my life, or I kind of went to the other side of the coin where I was a little bit more probably asexual. So I didn't let men into my life. And I thought, until Mr. Perfect walks up and he's all these things on paper, I'm going to make sure no one touches me, not just physically but emotionally or anything, so I don't mess up. And I think that puts a partner obviously at a disadvantage, but also you to become a good partner. And when I say talking to these women, I think it's important that they understand, they might not be just like the fatherless daughter beside them, but the lack of commitment and ability to be emotionally available is all the same as a fatherless daughter, because the hallmark is being scared of being reabandoned. So we all get there in a different way.
We do, and when we really look at a deep level of it, all of this, whether it's a father or fatherless, you could have a father, you can get abandoned. All these stories that we go through, ladies, at the end of the day, it's a soul issue. It's like I have to address what soul is calling me to experience. So let me talk a little bit like the Fatherless Daughter Project, understanding our losses and reclaiming our lives. What did you learn from writing the book? Give us one takeaway that you both received and something that you would like your readers to receive from the book.
Sure, this is Dina. I think, Karin mentioned I wrote the book in a memoir form first. And what I realized with that after going on the Today Show and getting an agent and having people interested in buying the book was that I still was not able to really let down my wall and tell what is really going on with my world. So it took a lot of writing and rewrite therapy and stuff to understand that my future, my past didn't have to define future. I could use it to redefine who I want to come. And so I think it's really important for girls to realize that fatherlessness is a journey. It's not something that's going to ever go away. It's going to change and ebb and flow as you do, as you become a wife, a mother, a grandmother. You go to work, your friendships, and all different aspects of your life. So I think the big takeaway for me is realizing that it's a journey. It's not something you're supposed to get over. Like you said, for me, it was a soul calling. So it's something that I want to make sure that women understand that this is not something to be ashamed of, and that you can speak your piece, and it's okay that you may have grown up fatherless, because that has a lot to do with him and not so much with you. And so you can let go of what happened to you and take the positive aspects, and use it to have a lot better future and redefine who it is that you want to become in your future while you find your purpose.
Well, Dina, this is Karin. Yeah, it's so much happened for me while we were writing this book, and so, I'll speak to my own path, because I had to realize that there were so many places of being stuck. So I was coming into this as this, psychotherapist that was trained very clinically from this very conservative background, and I ended up having this huge awakening, and I became a mother, and all these things changed and transformed in my life as we were moving through the book. And so, where I've been called to help other women and people in general is that, there is a time for healing, and there is a time to go back. And I am a very big advocate of therapy and counseling, and, going back and looking at the scars and going back and finding ways to heal them and to grieve our losses and to have those parts of our lives where we're speaking our truths, we're speaking our losses, and we're tending to the emotions that have been stuck, because I do think that it brings healing. But, after those months or years have passed, in the moment that we're ready to really heal, in the moment that we're ready to bring in a transformation, it really can happen pretty quickly too. I found this brand new relationship with God, and it's really, I didn't have any stand-in fathers come in. I do now. My mom's been remarried, and I have a wonderful stepfather in my life. But I really found that by reconnecting with God I found this masculine relationship with the divine that goes beyond this conversation. But, it really grounded me in a way that totally changed my life. And I had to really let go of so many of the things that I was taught growing up that involved shame, like Dina was saying, and fear and guilt, and all those things get wrapped up, especially when you're raised in an addictive or an abusive home, because you're carrying secrets. And I've reformed my relationship with God, and I just don't think that there's any source of shame or fear at all in that relationship. And so I've really had to reteach myself and do a lot of research around that, and it really has healed me. And so, there's this connection now to a higher power that is filled in, even though I did have to do the work on the voids, and I think it's necessary, but it filled this void in me in such a beautiful way that I'm a completely transformed person. So there's always hope, and it can happen when you're ready.
Congratulations. Ladies, it was great having you on the air. Could you leave us with a website that our listeners can get a hold of a copy of the book, or just, to talk to you if they have something to ask you?
Sure. You can go to fatherless-daughter-projec.com. Obviously, we're on Amazon and every other place you would buy books. I also want to note that we have our first Fatherless Daughter Retreat Masterclass in Atlanta, October 14th through 16th, and you can check us out again at fatherless-daughter-projec.com. We would love to have you.
Yeah, you can
so
find
beautiful.
us, of course. We both on Facebook and Twitter. We're on all that. And Dina, her name is DennaBabul, and so she has her name.com. And then I'm at dr-karin, KARIN.com, and we're both, on Twitter and Facebook, and that's a pretty easy way to get us too.
Ladies, thank you so very much, and all the very best. Take care.
Thank you, Sister Jenna.
You're welcome. Bye-bye. So these are the things that we are going through. Each of us have our own particular journeys that we are struggling with, right? And so whether it's through the therapy of writing, finding the right people, connecting, talk it through. But please, my friends, do not bottle in what you're going through. You're not alone. We are actually never alone with our stories. There's always somebody else who can be a companion on the journey, and then we can maybe change some behaviors or patterns that we feel deep within. This doesn't belong to us. I want to invite you to check on their website, go and see their retreat that's coming up in October, and hopefully that will be very, very successful. Thank you very much for joining us on the air. Remember, no one can take away your happiness unless we give them permission, and we are here to love each other the same, so let's do that. Take care, everyone, and I'm going to end today is with Love Being Here by Elijah Ray. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.